Welcome to the Mind for Success podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Lebbing, and I love seeing business professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs have massive success in their businesses. Are you ready to reach a higher level in your business? Are you looking to rise to the top and break through the barriers that are holding you back? If this is you, join us on the Mind for Success podcast. Welcome to the Mind for Success podcast. I am really excited to introduce Michael DeLon, who's here today. He is with Paperback Expert. He is a wealth of knowledge. You're going to love every single thing he says. And I'm going to let him tell us a little bit about what you do, Michael.
Kim, thanks for having me here. I'd love to do that. So long story, really short. Okay. So listen fast. I've been married since follower of Jesus Christ. First of all, been married since 1990 to my lovely wife, Jill. We've got 4 children, 2 biological sons who are like 26 and 23, 2 adopted daughters who are 14 and 11. We did foster care for about 8 years. That's where my daughters came from. Was a missionary for about 10 years with a ministry called Family Life, spent 2 years in prison. I'll tell you about that in a minute. It wasn't a literal prison. And I started my company, Paperback Expert, back in January of 2013. And I have the privilege today of working with business owners across the country and really in different countries to help them create a book without writing a word to position them as the expert in the eyes of their audience, and then teaching them how to use that book and their credibility to gain clients, get referrals, and grow their revenue. So that's who I am and what I get to do.
I love it. And I can't wait for you to hear his story and everything he does. I was really blown away by all the things. So welcome, Michael.
Kim, thank you so much for having me. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a great conversation.
I'm excited. So I would love for you to share how'd you get started?
Hey, that's a great question. So I'm going to tell you the long story, but it's going to be really fast. Okay. So you gotta listen fast as I talk. So my wife and I got married in 1990. Okay. First 5 years of our marriage were like this. We just fought at each other because we were complete opposites and still are to this day. And even though we both grew up in church, nobody taught us how to be married. And so after 5 years, we went to a Family Life marriage conference. Family Life's a part of Campus Crusade for Christ. We went to a marriage conference. They shared with us God's blueprints for marriage. I didn't know he had any blueprints. So we learned the blueprints, started applying what we learned, and our marriage got better. During that 90s period, I was in Christian radio, selling Christian radio. I found out my clients did not want to buy Christian radio. They wanted to sell their products and services. So I had a decision to make, Kim. I could either decide to become really good at selling or really good at marketing. So I chose marketing. I read the books. I followed the gurus. I went to the seminars. I learned how to do marketing for small business owners, and my business grew because my clients' businesses were growing. So now fast forward 2000, I left the radio station, went to a startup.com back when this little company called Amazon was just getting started. Remember when William Shatner was on the radio talking about the world's largest bookstore?
Oh, right.
I was selling websites and banner advertising to car dealerships who didn't even have a website at that time. That company was ahead of its time, Kim. That means it went bankrupt. And so 2 years later, I was standing in my front room going, God, what am I supposed to do? And he spoke to my heart. He says, I want you to ministry to families. I want you at Family Life. So we raised support for 2 years because we were missionaries, moved from Indiana down to Little Rock, Arkansas, which is the world headquarters for Family Life, started serving there, thought I was in nirvana. After 6 years, I climbed the ladder. I was in the leadership team of the ministry. And then they started going through corporate reorganizations. After the 3rd reorganization, I got kicked off the leadership team, and they started shuffling me around the ministry to do different things, right? That was my 2-year, as I call it, my prison term, because I was in a job that I hated at a ministry that I loved. So after 2 years, I prayed again. I said, God, I got to get out of this thing. And he's like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go help small business owners with marketing because that's what I love. And they hate it. And he said, okay, go. So January 1st, 2013, I escaped from prison and started a marketing consulting firm in Little Rock. I'd call Kim. I'd say, Kim, I can help you grow your business. You'd meet with me. We'd have a great conversation. And he'd say, Michael, what have you done for the last few years? Who have you helped? I said, well, I help build marriages and families at Family Life. And you say, that's so cool, Michael. Way to go. Oh, look at the time. I've got another meeting now. Let's keep this conversation going. And you usher me out the door. I couldn't get a client for anything, Kim, because you saw me as a ministry guy, not a marketing guy. So I knew I had to fix that. So I went to my church, second floor, pacing the hallways back and forth, crying out to God, saying, how do I help Kim, Lord? Because I know I can. And he gave me the idea to take all of my marketing strategies and put them in a book. And so in 2013, I published my book on marketing. And then I would call you and say, Kim, I can help you grow your business. You'd set an appointment. I'd mail a copy of my book to you. A week later, I'd walk into your office for our meeting, and there it was. My book was on your desk, dog-eared, highlighted, and underlined. You'd read my book. And in that meeting, you'd say, now, Michael, in your book, you said, how do you help me do that? And you'd hire me. And the next person hired me, and the next person hired me. I started gaining clients. Now, let me ask you, Kim, what changed between those two meetings? Did my background in marketing change at all? Did my background in ministry change? Not a lick. The only thing that changed, Kim, was how you thought of me. When you got a copy of my book, I instantly became an expert in your mind, and you were sitting there with pen in hand, ready to take down my prescription for your challenge. That changed everything in my business because I was instantly an expert, started gaining clients. And then the idea hit me. It's like, this is really cool. Why don't more business owners do this in marketing? Because business owners are experts, right? And so we created a company that today is Paperback Expert, where we help business owners create a book without writing a word. And then we teach them how to use their book in their marketing to gain clients, get referrals, and grow their revenue.
Genius. Really.
Thank you.
I love it.
You know.
I love it. So we talked before about marketing myths.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, there are so many of them. One of the big ones is it matters where you advertise. Where do you market? Where's my audience, right? And that's where most business owners spend most of their time. My contention and conviction is that what matters more is it matters more what you say than where you say it. And when you look at most websites and you talk with most consultants or business owners, their marketing is bland. They look like everybody else. I call them coffee beans. Okay, I'm a coffee drinker. I love coffee. Pour out coffee beans on your table in front of you, Kim. They all look the same and they all smell the same. And in marketing and business, if you look like and sound like everybody else, you're not giving me a reason to choose you. And at the end of the day, I am going to choose to do business with you because of who you are more than what you do. Because there are dozens of people who do what you do. How are you separating yourself? And so that's probably one of the biggest myths that as I talk with business owners, they're like, should I do Facebook or LinkedIn or webinars or direct mail? And I'm like, I have no idea. Let's figure out your signature message. What is unique about you? Let's create a compelling message that resonates with your audience. And then we'll figure out where to take it because, you know, your audience is everywhere. But as a small business owner, you can't afford to go everywhere. So I usually recommend that you go to one of those channels and you dominate it. You become a big fish in a small pond. And once you have the marketing flywheel rolling, as I call it, and you're getting a consistent flow of on-target prospects, then add a second one. You never leave the first one. You add a second one. Too many business owners are trying to do too many things. And they're just like, oh, it's just too much. 3 words I live by, Kim. Ready? Clarify, simplify, multiply. In that order. Clarify your message, simplify your marketing, and then your results are going to multiply.
This is so good.
I hope so, because it just makes it makes a lot of sense to me, but this is what I do.
Yeah. So, yeah. It makes sense because as business owners, and I know I've gotten in that trap myself where you think you have to be everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And it's so overwhelming. And then you end up nowhere because you just can't.
Well, you become a coffee bean, right? And then you get overwhelmed and you pull the plug and you're like, marketing doesn't work. Yes, it does. You just have to
Right.
do it right. And you build, right? One on top of the next. And when you hang around me, you're going to learn systems, because we are big on systems. As solopreneurs, which is where I was for the first few years, you wear many hats, right? I learned how to build systems and then hire people to run those systems so I can focus on what I'm really good at. I'm only good at 4 things in life, Kim, but I'm wicked good at these 4 things. So I build a team around me of people who do the things I'm not good at, so that we can provide excellent service to our clients and grow our business.
I love it. I love it. So how do you get referrals?
I ask, which most people don't, right?
That's a big key.
It really is. It's the first key. So a lot of things go in there. So we've built in our system in our coaching programs. At the end of our coaching program, many times, and definitely at the end of it, we have a whole system where we get testimonials from our audience that we're going to use to send out in our funnels, right? When I get referrals, and I teach my clients to get referrals when they become an author with us, is when you have a happy client. So let's take somebody who's whether it's a coach, a consultant, maybe they have a brick and mortar financial advising firm, let's say, right? Doesn't matter. You have a happy client. You've served them well. They're thrilled. That's the moment that you say, Kim, would you do me a favor? And you shut up and you smile, and they're going to say, well, yeah. And you say, you probably don't know this, Kim, but most of our clients don't come to us through all the marketing that you see us do on social media and all that. They come to us through the referrals and recommendations of our happy clients. It would mean a lot to me, Kim, and would you do me a favor and just, if I gave you 3 or 4 copies of my book, when you're having conversations with your friends in the next few weeks, and this comes up, would you just hand them a copy of my book and say, well, you need to read the book from John, because he's the guy that helped us put our retirement plan in place, and he's amazing. He wrote a book about it. You should just go read his book, Kim.
That's brilliant.
When you have your clients giving your book out, done deal. They're going to read them. I had a financial advisor call me, a client of mine, a few weeks ago, and he says, Michael, I got to tell you the story. One of his clients was having lunch with some friends. They were talking about retirement. The client gave the friend a copy of my client's book, John. The friend called John and said, hey, we had lunch with John and Susan. They gave us your book. We think we need to talk. And ended up gaining another client because of his book. He wasn't even in the whole conversation. But that's how you generate referrals. And when they read his book, they weren't searching on Google for other financial advisors. They were coming to one person. That's how you build your business. What did that cost him?
The book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Price of the book. That's it.
The price of a book, $5. There you go. And I've got another guy who he's a financial advisor as well. We do really well with financial advisors. He had a new client, and they said, hey, can we get 2 or 3 more copies of your book for our coworkers? And his answer is always this: yes. Would you like 5 or 10? And he's learned that you give your book out because you want people reading your book. It's like a 2-hour conversation you can have with the prospect. It tells your story. It gets them to bond with you. It answers a lot of their questions, and it opens some windows of other questions they need to get answers from. And guess who they're going to ask? You, because you're the expert. So that's just one aspect of getting referrals that comes so naturally when you have a book. When you are the expert in the eyes of your audience and clients, gaining referrals gets a lot easier than saying, would you hand my business card out to somebody, please? No, I won't. No, right? Sorry. A book has value. And how cool is it to say, Kim, all right, I've got a client right here. Just happened to have his book. Jesus, he's in Florida. He's a tax resolution specialist. So Kim, when you and your husband stop paying your taxes, and finally you get the letter from the IRS saying, oh, by the way, you owe us $150,000 and we're coming. You call Jesus, and he stands between you and the IRS. So he's a tax resolution specialist. Here's his book, Free Yourself from the IRS. Okay. He takes that message, which is really compelling. If you're in trouble with the IRS, you want to free yourself, right? But he uses this in all of his marketing. He hands it to his clients. They give it out. His centers of another aspect. So that was how to get referrals from clients. What about centers of influence? If you're a financial advisor, you need to have like estate planning attorneys or CPAs, right? Well, you have copies of your book in their office, in their lobby, on their bookshelf. You've built relationships with them so that they can pull a copy of your book off the shelf and say, Kim, you need to talk to Jesus because he's the guy who can get you out of this. That's how you get referrals. And those are just two systems that we teach on referral marketing to our clients, using your book and your credibility, let alone how do you attract and engage and all that. So it's about marketing. And I guess that's what I want people to understand. Having a book and being an author is great. But if you don't know how to monetize your expertise and leverage your credibility as the author of ... you're just leaving a lot of money on the table. That's where we shine, is helping you create your book quickly through our Speak to Write program and teaching you how to generate more revenue so that you'll attract high quality prospects, convert them into conversations, and then, as I say, clone them and get referrals. That's what it's all about. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. All right.
It does. It's amazing.
Well,
I know people that have written books. They're not using it in this way.
They're not. Yeah. Most people, another myth, right? If I write a book, the Red Sea parts and the world beats a path to my door.
Right.
Doesn't happen, right? It becomes a doorstop. And I get calls every week from authors who've published a book who go, I got a book, but what do I do with it? And that's why we run our mastermind group to teach our marketing systems that our authors, our clients get for free because they're part of my program. But if you've got a book and you're not using it, give me a call because I can help you. And I don't have to redo your book. I just have to help you understand marketing as an author because it's how your audience thinks of you and how do you engage with them through our credibility marketing systems that's going to change everything in your business.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So how do people actually, do you mind if I ask? I have another question for you.
Yeah.
What do you mean by Speak to Write?
Speak to Write. That's a great question. So Speak to Write, we have a team of writers, right? You, Kim, have everything in your head and your heart that you need to create your book. The last thing you should do is open up a Word document and start typing. Okay. Because two reasons. Number one, you'll type a few things and you hit, oh, that's not how I want to say it. And you'll backspace, right? And you'll self-edit and it will take forever. In fact, it probably will never get done. Number one. Number two, when you speak versus when you type, you're using different parts of your brain. So our Speak to Write process is where we match you with one of our writers. They have conversations with you on Zoom. They build an outline for your book. And based on that outline, we're asking you questions that you can answer because you answer them all day, every day, because you're an expert at what you do. And so you're speaking your content to us. We record it, we transcribe it. Then the writer takes your messages, your words, and they massage them into your book. So your book is written in your voice, your words. We're just the ones doing all the work for you. So that's our Speak to Write process. And because of that process, you can get your book created without writing a word and do it in less than 24 clock hours of your time. That's the beauty of our process.
That's amazing.
It really is. I mean, thank you.
It really is. It's amazing.
Every time I think about it, I'm like, this is awesome. I've got bookshelves in my house and in my office and just lined with the books that we've published. And I sit back sometimes and just look at it and go, this is really cool. It
really is.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you have something to share with the world. Every one of my clients has something to share, but they're struggling in their marketing because they've not been taught how to be marketers. They're financial advisors. They're coaches. They're mindset coaches. Awesome, right? You know so much more about changing mindset and high performance and all of that than I would ever imagine to know, right? But I don't need to know it because I'm not writing your book. You're writing your book through a Speak to Write process. And now the world can get more of what you have because they need it. I do that with every client that I come in contact with. They have something very powerful to offer the world. they're just speaking into a vacuum because they're a coffee bean. And we help transform them, not because of anything we bring to the table, but of what's already inside of you. We discover your unique message through our process, and it brings your message to life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So
it's so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, it is. You've provided so much value.
Oh, thank you. I hope so.
No, really, really. And I know any business owners, entrepreneurs that are out there listening, I don't know why you wouldn't consider doing this seriously.
Yeah. It's well, I tell people 2 things: never write a book, always speak to write your book. And you can do, you can do that through dictation and different things. You can do it, but there's so many other pieces that we take care of. And I forget the second thing that I was going to tell you. I should have written it down.
It's okay.
Yeah, it'll come back to me. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Oh,
it's okay.
That's it. That's the other thing. No, everybody comes to me when I talk to them. Everybody wants to be an author, but nobody wants to write a book. And that's really why we created our speak to write processes, because I work with high achieving, growth oriented, busy professionals. If that's you and you want to become an author, you should look me up, paperbackexpert.com, and we'll have a conversation to see if it's right for you. But that's who I work with. And so it's really, really cool.
Awesome. Okay. So thank you so much for being on today and sharing all this amazing value and insight as to marketing.
Oh, you're welcome, Kim.
Yeah. And to the listeners, go to paperbackexpert.com and just check Michael's stuff out. I've been following him for just a short time. And I told him before we got on here, I feel like I really, really know you really well. And I know that a big piece of that is how you do your marketing.
Well, it is. And thank you for mentioning that. Let's extend this for just a minute.
Go ahead.
Right there is one of the keys to marketing, is being yourself. Okay. So we've been in business, this is our 10th year. For the first 5 or 6 years, I wouldn't do video because I thought I had to show up on video the way you thought I should show up. And I didn't have a nice office. I didn't know what to say. And what I realized is I need to show up as Michael. And if you like Michael, then let's do some business together. But if this offends you, or if I don't resonate with you, then go somewhere else. Right. But until I got to that point and became me, told my stories, talked like I talk, my life, that changed my business about 4 years ago again, because I'm authentic. This is me. If you like this, let's talk. And in all of the videos that I do, all of the emails that I write, I come through as me. And I know that people buy me more than what I do.
Yes.
And that's what I want, because now you're going to be bonded with me, and we're going to be together for a long time. And you're going to tell all of your friends, neighbors, relatives, business owners, church members about this really cool guy you met who can help me grow your business. And I'm creating a book. I don't have to do any writing. And that's how I get referrals. But be yourself, I guess, is where I really wanted to land the plane, is be yourself in your marketing. Tell your story, show up as you, and your business is going to grow because you don't have to pretend.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on today.
You're welcome, Kim.
It's been great. And I love that last little nugget.
Yeah, it's really important. So it's been fun, Kim. Thanks for having me here. It's been a joy and an honor. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And guys, just go visit paperbackexpert.com. And thanks for being on.
Are you ready to break through the barriers that are holding you back and reach a higher level in your business in just 4 hours? Be sure to click the link today and join other high-achieving professionals that have worked with Kimberly Lebbing to accelerate their success.